What if I told you there was a team who was top 5 in three-point percentage, top 10 in offensive rating, top 6 in defensive rating, and are semi-safely locking up the 5 seed in the sweepstakes of the Wild Wild West? But what if I also told you this team was never really talked about in the mainstream media, even though they have one of the biggest walking highlight reels in all of basketball? What if I told you when this team was talked about, it's usually negative things? The New Orleans Pelicans are currently the 5 seed in the Western Conference, and yes, the Suns are right behind them, but with how they've played as of recently, I'm more than confident to say that this team will not be a play-in team, and this take might age poorly. But today we're going to talk about the NBA's most unspoken of team, the New Orleans Pelicans. Before we get into this video, guys, I do want to say thanks so much for the support on the channel recently. It's been absolutely amazing. If you're new here and want to support the channel, we are uploading every single day for the month of March. That is my version of March Madness, even though this is just strictly, for now, an NBA basketball related content channel. Sorry, that's a lot to say, but as I was saying, we are on the road to 3,000 subscribers. If you're new here, please be sure to consider hitting that subscribe button. For starters, the stars of the New Orleans Pelicans, it's pretty easy to look at this team, Zion Williamson specifically, and say, hey, Zion was averaging 27 and 8 last year, and now he's averaging 22 and 5. He's falling off. He's not great. He's not living up to his potential. If you say that, that's fine. You're very entitled to your opinion. But the trade-off for 5 points and 3 rebounds is that Zion Williamson is eating right. Zion Williamson is playing in back-to-backs. Zion Williamson has played over 80% of this season. Zion Williamson is hopefully going to be healthy going for the rest of the season. And when the playoffs start, when the playoffs heat up, you guys got to remember, at some point last season, about 30 or so games into the season, they were the #1 seed in the Western Conference, and Zion Williamson had a legitimate MVP, candidate quality. But last season, the other crazy thing is Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and CJ, they only played 10 games together. That's 10 games of all time since CJ has become a Pelican. Brandon Ingram had a hamstring injury last season. CJ McCollum had a wrist injury last season. And then Zion missed some injuries, or missed some time, with a knee and a hip injury last season. Availability was a big reason for the slow start this season and the kind of, I guess you'd say, poor finish last season. But this year, the team looks incredibly different from the stars all the way to the last man on the bench. Zion Williamson, as I mentioned, has been playing, very quality basketball. His looks are great. He's playing in back-to-backs. He's not overworking himself. He's even, believe it or not, played the second most games on this team, or third most, behind Brandon Ingram, and Jonas Valanciunas. What I love about this team is the true unselfishness as they figure out where people want to be down the stretch of the game. They're starting to just kind of take responsibility. We're never seeing, when we see teams trying to be great, oftentimes in the post-game interviews, we see a lot of head hanging. Their heads are hanging low, their body language is negative. This team is a very pick-me-up oriented team. And as I mentioned, they are shooting the hell out of the three-point ball. CJ McCollum on 8 attempts a night is shooting 43% from three-point land. Then you have Matt Ryan at almost 5 attempts a night is shooting 47% from three-point land. Herbert Jones is shooting 43% on 4 attempts a night. Trey Jones shooting 36% on 7.5 attempts a night, which is kind of a slump for him. I would hope Brandon Ingram can step up his three-point availability. He's shooting 36% on 4 attempts a night. Brandon Ingram is truly a very talented 3-level scorer. However, right now it's just the shot isn't falling, and that's totally okay because Brandon Ingram is just such a savvy scoring basketball player, and I love that his ability on offense is starting to expand beyond what he could bring to just scoring the basketball. Like Kevin Durant, he is growing into a much versatile defender and passer. We really start to see these guys. I compare it frequently to the Giannis's, the LeBrons. LeBron was a little more equipped passing the ball when he entered the NBA, but the Giannis's, the Kevin Durant's, now the Brandon Ingrams, Devin Bookers, we see a lot of these guys face so many doubles that they literally have no other option but then to become a facilitating wing, a facilitating guard, whatever it may be. Brandon is really excelling in that role, just like CJ McCollum is. More often than not, we're seeing the starting 5 be CJ at the 1, Brandon at the 2, Herb at the 3, Zion at the 4, and then Jonas at the 5. This allows for an immense amount of spacing. CJ can shoot it, Brandon can shoot it, Herb can shoot it, Jonas can shoot it. Zion, you don't really want him to shoot it, but if he has to, he's not shying away from it. And then off the bench, they have so many tricky pieces that they can just insert into the lineup. Jordan Hawkins can shoot it, Jose can shoot it, Trey Murphy can shoot it, Najee Marshall can shoot it. Real quick, I want to give a little bit of love because I might forget to. This video is kind of off the top of the head, so I really might forget to talk about him later. Najee Marshall has been absolutely just brilliant for this Pelicans team. This season his minutes are a little bit down, and that's to be expected as the starters are healthy, which is a very good thing. But last season, Najee Marshall, I remember, I want to say it was maybe in February, March, he kind of rattled off a spree of like 20. It was probably like 7 or 8 20-point games in 20 games or so. And he looked really great. Filling in for CJ, filling in for Herb, filling in for Brandon Ingram. He's kind of a plug-and-play forward guard-ish player. If you've never seen him play, I definitely recommend looking out for him next time you see the Pelicans. Just be on the lookout for number 8. Like I said, this season, he's only averaging 7 points and 4 rebounds. But when he's playing and he's getting good minutes, he has a really solid impact to winning basketball. And the same thing goes for guys like Trey Murphy and Herbert Jones and Jordan Hawkins. It seems like a lot of these guys are just fitting that mold of 3-and-D wing players. I mean, I saw jokes, or not jokes, but reports that Herb Jones was, reportedly up for trade or up for grabs. This would be a terrible mistake, and I mean terrible mistake from the Pelicans, because on ball, like on the perimeter, on the wing, whatever you want to call it, Herb is easily one of the best top 5, top 6, top 7, depending on who you ask. On ball pesks, just really resemblant of just a very talented, lengthy wing defender. And then the man who ties this thing all together, obviously Jonas Valanciunas. He's playing his role perfectly. He's averaging his 14 points. He's averaging his 10 rebounds. He's averaging his block or 2 a game. Just a really solid plug-and-play guy. Kind of reminds me of the Steven Adams of the world, where he's setting those big boulder screens. Yusuf Nurkic is another really solid comparison. He's setting those boulder screens. He's a good roll man. He's not the most athletic, but what he lacks in athleticism, he makes up in the ability to shoot the ball. He's really good to size up on guys like Nikola Jokic. That doesn't mean he can stop Nikola Jokic, but his just body mass is very, very great for those bigs down the stretch. And when he's, receiving a lot of the attention that he is, like I said, CJ, Brandon, Trey, Herb, Jordan, Matt, Jose, Najee, Dyson Daniels, all these guys can shoot the ball, at an extremely high rate or at a more than sufficient rate. So if I'm gassing this team up and they're so great and they're so perfect, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that, what does that mean going forward, and can they compete in the postseason? This might sound beyond crazy, but I really think they could win a series in the first round, especially depending on the matchup. If they get locked in as the 5 seed and they play the Clippers in the first round, I'm, not the most confident that they could beat the Clippers. But if they fell to 6 and then played, I don't know, even the Thunder in the first round, I'm not saying that they would beat the Thunder, but I could see them beating the Thunder. I could see them beating the Timberwolves. I could see them beating the Suns, the Kings, maybe the Mavericks, and the Lakers. Really, the Clippers, the Nuggets, and then I guess the Wolves. I feel like the Clippers, Nuggets, and Wolves are the teams that it's going to be really hard for them to beat. But the Thunder, the Suns, the Kings, the Mavs, the Lakers, the Warriors, call me crazy, but I just really believe that the Pelicans on paper are a great team, and if they can figure it out and get it running, or CJ rattles off 8 threes, it's very possible, that the Pelicans, they're the 5 seed for a reason. They're not talked about frequently, but they are definitely a team that goes on these crazy runs, and it's a lot of fun to watch. But what do you guys think? What do you make of this video? Are the Pelicans on your radar to win a first-round series? Let me know in the comments below. It's hard because, if they match up with the Nuggets or Clippers, I don't think they stand a chance. Could be wrong, though. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. If you made it this far, I appreciate your support as always. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay happy, healthy, and blessed. Peace.